I'm Colleen Ringel. I am a descendant of Ella Schlentz, who was also one of your designees on the 844. This is a picture of Ella with her fiance, John Thomas. Am I not talking? Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Public speaking is not my forte. Uh, anyway, you're going to hear a lot that's very similar to what you heard two floors up. I grew up in a family that was in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. My grandmother and grandfather had a place there, and as a precocious child, I knew that if my grandmother grew up in Cicero and my grandfather grew up in Lake Geneva, that the chances of the two of them meeting was slim to none. So I would ask questions like, how did you meet Grandma? To my grandmother, how did you meet Grandpa? And I would hear this story of the Eastland. My grandmother's oldest sister, Ella, who was 20, was an employee of Western Electric, as was my grandmother's oldest brother, Harry. The two of them, along with Ella's fiance, John, and John's sister, Rose, and this is where genealogy gets a little crazy, the Thomases were very, very close to the Schlentz family because my great-grandmother Schlentz's brother was married to John and Rose's sister. So there was this, family situation. So the four of them were all going to go to the Eastland together. My Uncle Harry was known for being a little late. He overslept. So the other three went on ahead and got on the ship because they wanted to be on the Eastland. My Uncle Harry arrived just as the ship tipped over. He proceeded to spend the next 8 to 12 hours trying to find his sister, to no avail, before he made it home to Cicero, where the rest of the people from Western Electric had already made their way back to Cicero, and my great-grandparents were convinced that they had lost both children until Uncle Harry finally showed up. Ella did not make it, neither did Rose. John did survive. Ella and Rose are buried together in St. Joe Cemetery on Belmont, and the family story was, that Uncle Harry was always late for everything, including his birth, so he was late for that. But from that, my great-grandfather was convinced that if Ella had known how to swim, she would have survived. She was probably pinned under the smokestack, and dressed in the finery, that probably wasn't true, but he managed to convince himself. So for every summer after that, he would take the family for the summer vacation down to Cedar Lake, Indiana, to learn how to swim. And about 1921, he was talking to his boss. My great-grandfather was a bailiff in the criminal court system in Chicago, and the judge he bailiffed for said, "Oh, you should go up to Lake Geneva. There's this family that has land right on the lake. They rent campgrounds, and Lake Geneva is very pretty." And so the following year, the family started going up to Lake Geneva to rent campgrounds with the Van Dykes, and Grandma met Grandpa, and I would not be here if it was not because of the Eastland, because I'm not a direct descendant of Ella, but in a roundabout way, we came about. The interesting thing is that, as Barb mentioned, some families would never get near water. My family took you need to know how to swim. We joke when new babies are born as to when are we going to put them in the water? When are they going to learn to float? And it's usually 6 to 8 months. They are held in the water to get the idea, and it's always water like a lake or a river so that they get used to the flowing. Swimming pools are boring. And so that's pretty much my story. The family was here, a number of us. There were 9 of us for the events last summer, and everyone is thrilled that Ella was selected. They just, we really appreciated, all the work you did, and we really are thrilled to keep her name alive. Thank you.